I now call upon Sri Chanchalapati Prabhu to please share his memories. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Memory of Krishna Sakha Prabhu, as for all of us, as Vasudev Keshav Prabhu mentioned, as a very gentle, soft-spoken, mild devotee. So 21 years back, when the matter about his joining came up, normally, as you know, we do not allow very young devotees to join the temple. We wait for them to become a little bit more older, 20, 21, 22. But in his case, Achyuta Prabhu brought the matter, and I also met him. And you can imagine 21 years back, even as a fully grown-up adult man, he looked very innocent and soft and mild in his mannerisms. So even as a 18, 19-year-old boy, he looked like a very young boy and hardly spoke. And I was not too sure whether we should admit him. I was delaying. I was talking to Achyuta. But then Achyuta Prabhu also strongly recommended. And I heard the parents were also willing and blessing him to be in the temple. And so considering that as an extraordinary situation, not a normal admission of a devotee, this is my recollection that how he hardly spoke, but just seeing him and his simplicity and his sincerity, which was seen on his face, in his mannerisms, we admitted him. And today here we are talking about 21 years of glorious devotional service of Krishna Sakha Prabhu. And like we just heard, he did many services. He was also overseeing some younger devotees in the ashram as temple commander. And of course, the prominent service that he did was LLP services, fundraising services. Generally, fundraisers are aggressive. Otherwise, you cannot get money from people are very attached to money. But contrary to that, Krishna Sakha was very gentle. And I think seeing his gentleness, seeing his sincerity, and hardworking, and because of that, I think he was also persuasive, and he was a very successful fundraiser. That was another surprise for me. I remember I thought he may not turn out to be a good fundraiser. Maybe we have to try other services, like we keep changing different devotee services. But we found that although he is not aggressive at all, very gentle, very mild. Still, he turned out to be very successful fundraiser. And for many, many years, he did fundraising services. And he was also doing, till very recently, when he became too ill, he was also doing services as GBC, in the GBC Secretariat. Because GBC Secretariat is someone who is little senior only is involved in those services, because all the devotees are all senior members. So he was also doing that service very nicely. And later on, even when he was ill and he was not active, he was mostly confined to the room and he was going through different kinds of treatment. At that time also, his intelligence was very alert, very sharp. He was very alert. Now and then, even till recently, he would send me some video he has seen, some article he has read, something that is relevant for our temple, something that's relevant for preaching. He would send me, and I would see that he is keeping service, society, temple, movement, Prabhupada's movement, and something that I should know and I should be aware of. If he has come across, he would send. So I knew I would acknowledge, and he was always, I knew that he was very alert and active. And another very important consideration in his mind was to be always under the shelter of Radha Krishna Chandra in the premises of the temple. And we were worried just last 1 year. There were many of our devotees were also had tested positive. We had one floor dedicated for all those who were tested positive. In the guest house, we had another floor dedicated for those who had symptoms, not sure. And so we were worried that he is in that guest house building because, he is also, because he is ill, all the more he should be careful. That's what we have been reading, isn't it, in this during this pandemic. So we were very concerned about that, and at that time we had some discussions, and we suggested that we take a house outside so that he will be safer. But he was not willing to. He said, no, I want to be in the premises of the temple. And so he always desired to be under the shelter of, in the holy premises of Radha Krishna Chandra temple. And so the last few days when he was admitted in the hospital, naturally when someone is very ill, we take them to the hospital and the doctors do different things, treatment. And so we were trying different treatments, and it was at that time Achyuta Krishna Prabhu, Achyuta is his cousin. He called up and said, no, please do not continue different treatment, let him come to the temple. So we were not too sure whether we should take that decision. But the desire came from his cousin, and we heard that the parents also wanted it that way. And so, because he was not conscious, we were not able to talk to him. And so we brought him from the hospital back to the guest room. And so that evening and in the midnight, past midnight, so he was, according to his wish and desire, Srila Prabhupada and Radha Krishna Chandra fulfilled his desire to be always in the premises of the temple and to leave his body in the premises of the temple surrounded by devotees. instead of being alone in an ICU with all the tubes connected to the body and other gadgets and being alone, he was surrounded by devotees who were chanting. Prabhupada's chanting was going on, and in the premises of Radha Krishna Chandra temple, he left his body. So we see how Krishna has fulfilled his wish, and how nicely for 21 years he did very wonderful services to Krishna, to Srila Prabhupada in this temple after the temple was inaugurated, soon after the temple was inaugurated. So Krishna Sakha is a wonderful example of a good Vaishnava, and his dedication is exemplary, and all his qualities were admirable. And so today we are here to remember him and his wonderful services and how much we miss him. But we are very sure he has pleased Guru and Krishna, so he is very much in the shelter of the Lord and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.